Now the latest from ITV News Meridian with Fred Dinage and Sangeeta Barbara.
Good evening, welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines.
It's really cool seeing that Union Jack go outside.
It's great to be wearing it.
A few small steps for Major Tim Peake, the Sussex astronaut who is the first official Brit to walk in space. How the South celebrated on Earth.
The 82-year-old who plunged to his death at an NHS health centre in Fareham. So why were there failures in health and safety?
Do you want to be a pilot? British Airways announces almost 2,000 new jobs at Gatwick and Heathrow.
And a street party to end all street parties. The Queen's grandson tells us how you can celebrate a special 90th birthday. Good evening to you, a very warm welcome. History was made today as Sussex Army Major Tim Peake became the first official British astronaut to walk in space. He was outside fixing a power unit on the International Space Station.
Yes, the world was watching as the 43-year-old stepped outside the ISS at 1 o'clock our time, wearing the Union flag on the sleeve of his spacesuit. Well, his space mission was expected to last 6.5 hours, but was terminated early because of problems with the helmet of his fellow spacewalker Tim Peake. Major Peake was 270 miles above Earth in a spacesuit weighing 50 kilograms, or just over 7.5 stone.
It is 51 years since the first ISS spacewalk. There have been 190 of them by American astronauts and Russian cosmonauts. Our reporter, Sam Holder, joined staff and pupils at Major Peake's old primary school at Emsworth in Hampshire as they celebrated the momentous occasion.
Hey, Tim, it's really cool seeing that Union Jack go outside since it's explored all over the world. Now it's explored space.
Thank you, Scott. It's great to be wearing it. Huge privilege.
One big step for British space exploration. Tim Peake becoming the first official UK astronaut to undertake a spacewalk. His mission, though, cut short for safety reasons. Fellow astronaut Tim Peake reporting a water bubble in his helmet. But his 4 hours outside the International Space Station still a landmark for British space travel. And some 200 miles below, on Earth, children at Tim's primary school in Emsworth watching his every move live. It was in one of these classrooms 30 years ago that Tim first started learning about science, and it's hoped that today's spacewalk can help inspire the next generation to follow in his footsteps.
Well, it's just incredible and it's so inspiring for me. It makes me really want to go to space. He sat in this classroom. Not the exact chairs because we got new ones, but it's amazing that it could be one of us one day, going first woman up in space. You never know, do you?
Science lessons have, of course, been based around Tim's mission. They've even built their own space station.
Down here, solar panel that you can twist around.
What we say to our children is, don't tell me how talented you are, tell me how hard you work. And Tim being up there now is just, it's brilliant for us. We want our children to succeed. There's an example of, through hard work, you can succeed, you can do anything.
And determination is key for Tim's mission. Not allowed to eat a thing during the mission. Earlier this week, Tim's parents told us they'd be watching in slightly more comfortable conditions.
I will be a bit worried, I can't deny it, but we're just going to sit at home on our own, put the kettle on, have a nice cup of tea and just watch it all quietly.
The hard work isn't over yet for Tim. He's still got another 5 months on board the International Space Station, but Britain's first official astronaut has already fired up imaginations back home. Sam Holder, ITV News, Emsworth.
And remember, you can keep up to date with Major Tim Peake's historic space mission on our website. Just go to itv.com/Meridian.
In other news, paramedics who were called to the house of Hampshire grandmother Georgina Edmonds have told a court that when they arrived it was obvious it was a crime scene. The jury in the trial of a man accused of murdering the 77-year-old was also shown video footage of the pensioner shopping in the days leading up to her death. Her daughter, also called Georgina, had earlier described 2 knives that were missing from the home. Her mother's body was found at Fig Tree Cottage in Brambridge in January 2008. Matthew Hamlin from Bishopstoke denies murder. The trial continues.
The 21-year-old from Sussex has been jailed for 6 years for dangerous driving after a crash that killed 2 of his best friends. Carl Whitney from Lindfield was driving a BMW when it hit a tree and flipped onto its roof near Handcross in December 2014.
A woman suffered grazes and bruises after a man tried to attack her in the early hours of this morning in Portsmouth. The 26-year-old was walking past a group of men in the underpass at Lake Road and Cornmill Street when one of them tried to sexually assault her.
The NHS has been fined £40,000 in connection with the death of a pensioner from Hampshire.
Benjamin Withers, who was 82, was on the first floor of the Fareham Health Centre when he fell to his death through a glass walkway on his mobility scooter. Richard Slee has more.
More than 3 years after the crash, the walkway into the Fareham Health Centre is still boarded up. 82-year-old Benjamin Withers died after his mobility scooter lurched forward, smashing a glass wall and plunging 12 feet to the pavement below. The NHS had already admitted breaching health and safety rules, and today the court heard more about the failings of the 2 primary care trusts which were responsible for the building at the time. It was revealed that managers knew the wooden frame was rotten, but had postponed repairs 20 times in the months leading up to the incident. Mr. Withers' family say they're disappointed that no individual was held responsible for what happened.
There's nobody there to be accountable for. They've not found anybody guilty of anything. It's just an overall, we don't know who to speak to, or there's nobody there to do.
At the end of the day, as long as no one ever has to go through what we have gone through, that's all that matters.
The Health and Safety Executive says this prosecution is a warning that organisations have a duty to consider the safety of people who use these scooters.
Businesses need to ensure that their existing structures and barriers are reassessed to ensure they are suitable for these machines.
The NHS was fined £40,000, a relatively small amount because of the effect on the public purse. Judge Sarah Munro QC said that what was more important than a financial penalty was the message that health and safety legislation must be complied with and that breaches will be taken seriously. Mr. Withers' family are now deciding whether to take any further legal action. Richard Slee, ITV News, Portsmouth.
You're watching ITV News here in the Meridian region. Coming up, all the sports news plus.
Now, you might want to dig out your thermals this weekend because it is going to be a tad chilly. But will there be any white stuff falling out of the sky? I'll tell you later.
You wait with trepidation, Simon. Meanwhile, for more on all of our stories, do head to itv.com/Meridian. Any views or news, do please give us a call. 0808 10 10 095 is the number to ring. Or you can get in touch via Facebook, or why not send us a tweet at ITV Meridian.
British Airways has announced hundreds of new jobs for Gatwick and Heathrow.
Yes, the airline says it will recruit 1,950 new staff this year in its biggest ever campaign.
1,600 will be cabin crew, and they want 350 new pilots.
Our transport correspondent Mike Pearce has been to the new centre where the new recruits will go through their training.
According to the latest figures, we're flying in record numbers. Not surprising then, airlines are operating to more destinations than ever and buying billions of pounds worth of new planes. For our airports, it means record numbers of jobs. British Airways alone says it will recruit its biggest ever number of cabin crew and pilots this year.
Brace! 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 Brace!
All of the airline's training now takes place in this brand new centre here at Heathrow. For cabin crew, they'll train for 6 weeks. For pilots, anything
up to 18 months.
Wait, slide inflating!
We're recruiting because we've got a lot of new aircraft coming at the moment. So we have 13 new aircraft coming this year, and that requires an awful lot of training. So it requires some new recruits, and it requires us to do a lot of training both for the flight crew and the cabin crew, and that all happens on our new facility here on the base at Heathrow.
But for the aviation industry, like so many others, times have changed. Airlines have battled with unions over paying conditions as they modernise and cut costs. So is the job it once was?
Well, I think it has and it hasn't. I think it's certainly, going to remote destinations and as part of your work, I think is still potentially a glamorous way of looking at your life. But the guys work incredibly hard. They are on duty from the moment they walk in through into the airport, right the way to the airport at the other end. So it's a tough job that we give them. We expect high standards, but at the same time, most of our feedback is that the guys absolutely enjoy it incredibly so.
We need people who can who have the sort of manual dexterity to fly aircraft. But what's becoming more important on top of that now are sort of general management skills, because if you're flying something like this, an A380, then you can have upwards of 500 passengers on board.
Today's announcement follows 1,000 jobs at EasyJet and hundreds more at Norwegian. Where so many industries have declined, aviation remains a massive growth area for the region. Mike Pearce, ITV News, Heathrow.
More news. Council officials on the Isle of Wight have hit out at the government, accusing it of attacking the most vulnerable in society through budget cuts. It must save a total of £26 million over the next 2 years, and that's on top of the £50 million already saved. The council will meet next week to discuss the cuts.
Today is the second National Pothole Day, according to a website built and run by a stay-at-home dad. Street Repairs say almost 90% of reports logged on its website relate to potholes with problems right across our region.
A Brighton cancer champion's been given a special award by the Prime Minister for raising thousands of pounds for charity. Sarah Cutting attracted a huge following after she posted pictures of herself on social media every day wearing different headgear. David Cameron said Sarah showed strength and selflessness in undertaking her fundraising challenge. Well done.
It's nearly 13 minutes past 6 and the ITV Evening News continues with the national and international news at 6:30. With more, here's Alistair Stewart.
Tim Peake's historic spacewalk continues. We are live with the latest. He and fellow astronaut Tim Copra are fixing something called the Sequential Shunt Unit. It's a spectacle of endeavour with fantastic pictures. It's closing day for applying for school places, and Labour criticise oversized classes as heads say it's a shambles. And at last there will be a new bridge over troubled waters in Tadcaster, but it's not what the locals wanted. Join Charlene White and me at 6:30.
Well, now to a Hampshire artist who was one of the most successful cartoonists of his age. Norman Thelwell, of course, made famous by his pictures of plump ponies and mischievous children.
Well, he died sadly in 2004, but now an exhibition of his work is being shown at Mottisfont Abbey, just a short distance from the home that he loved.
Yes, and as Rachel Hepworth now reports, some of the unseen paintings show another side to this very talented man.
These are the images that made Norman Thelwell's name and fortune. You may have a book of them in the downstairs loo, or a set of placemats perhaps, featuring his trademark fat ponies and feisty little girls.
The pony cartoons are, of course, his most famous work, and they're wonderful, absolutely hilarious. They're sort of like St Trinians but on horseback. Whether it's children being naughty, animals being mischievous. There are some fantastic cartoons of very patient and quite fed up looking fishermen with children raging all around them.
Curator Louise Govia wanted a pony after seeing Thelwell's cartoons for the first time. 40 years on, it's his unseen works that are a revelation.
There's an awful lot more to Thelwell. He does beautiful, beautiful local landscapes. And actually it makes a difference to his cartoons, because once you've seen the landscapes, you realise that actually all the settings are fantastically well painted. He's a really good artist.
Norman Thelwell moved to Timsbury after falling in love with Hampshire during his national service days. He was a prolific cartoonist for Punch and daily newspapers, chronicling the rise and fall of great stately homes, as well as the frustrations of everyday life. Success spawned a whole industry, from books and duvet covers to placemats and figurines, and an affection still felt today.
They're brilliant. They take me back to my youth because we took the Daily Express, and there are a lot of familiar pictures here.
I think they're absolutely super. And I like the ones that depict Mottisfont as well, obviously. The rain on that one over there is just perfect, yes. I love the pony ones particularly. I used to copy them when I was at school.
Norman's son David, an artist himself, still lives in Romsey.
We've got so many paintings and cartoons that he left that it needs people to see them, and wanted an exhibition somewhere local to where he lived, and this is a perfect place for it.
And these stunning landscapes and the feel-good cartoons will be here until April to make you smile. Rachel Hepworth, ITV News at Mottisfont.
Wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. I bet that brought back some memories for Chris Morn. Here he is now with our sport.
Yeah, it's ageing me, is it? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's what I was getting at.
Let's get straight to it. Okay. We're going to get straight to the sport, straight to the Premier League. Both Southampton and Bournemouth play on the South Coast tomorrow. Bournemouth kick off just 3 points above the relegation zone, while Saints hope to round off a good week when West Brom visit St Mary's.
ITV Meridian Sports Report, sponsored by WeWantAnyCar.com, the Cash for Cars website.
This morning's winter sun, they were preparing the Vitality Stadium for its second Premier League match of the week. Norwich visit tomorrow. They're just a place above the Cherries. Lewis Grabban or Juan Iturbe could start in place of Matt Ritchie, who was injured in Tuesday's 3-1 defeat against West Ham.
We've analysed the game, we've looked at where we can improve and do better. I expect a positive reaction on Saturday. We're a work in progress, we're still improving and refining our game all the time, so looking forward to the games to come. I think they're really good challenges. I think the pressure increases with each game, but I'd like to think that we'll relish that pressure as we did last year.
Well, Southampton have collected 6 points from their last 2 Premier League matches at St Mary's, scoring 6 times. They saw off Watford on Wednesday, but scoring against tomorrow's opponents, West Brom, may be a different proposition.
We need that level to beat West Brom. We know it's a difficult one for us. In the last 3 matches, we didn't score any goal against them, and because they are strong, they are defensively very good organised, and it's tough to beat and to score goals.
Well, to the Championship, and both Brian McDermott's Reading and Chris Hughton's Brighton are away from home for a 3rd successive game. After draws at Huddersfield and Derby, the Royals make the short trip to Milton Keynes. Brighton, without a win in 8 outings, are in the northwest to face Blackburn and their main marksman, Jordan Rhodes.
There's never ever been an easy game away at Blackburn, and they've got a very settled team, so I think there's something to their advantage. Of course, in Rhodes, who perhaps hasn't got the goals of late that he's used to getting, but would be certainly one of the best strikers in the division.
Well, elsewhere, Swindon Town Chairman Lee Power says he's about to complete a deal to buy a new training ground for the club. Tomorrow the Robins host League One's bottom club Crewe. Portsmouth will be without Danny Hollands but have Michael Doyle and Matt Clark back in contention for the League Two game at Accrington. Chris Atkinson, signed on loan from Crewe, could go straight into the Crawley team to meet Notts County. For Michael Appleton's Oxford United, another cup, another victory. 4 days after knocking Premier League Swansea out of the FA Cup, the U's were 2-0 winners at League One Millwall last night. Once again, Kemar Roof was the match winner. This was the first leg of the Southern Area final of the Johnston's Paint Trophy. When John Lundstrom's shot came back off the crossbar, Roof was the first to react, his 17th goal of the season. So Oxford on the verge of a Wembley final, and they're at home in the 4th round of the FA Cup, of course, and lie 3rd in League Two. Now there's National League basketball in Reading on Sunday, where Worthing Thunder are the visitors. The Reading Rockets this week met the Surrey Scorchers, who play in the country's top league, the British Basketball League, in the BBL Trophy. The Rockets in the black here are through to the semi-finals of their National Cup. Not surprisingly, the Scorchers won this by 10 points, but the Rockets are enjoying a strong season.
We're looking really good. I'm not saying too much right now, but I think we've got a really special group this year, a really good group of guys, and I think you'll see that on the floor as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is our first season, so we've learned quite a lot from the year. Last week, we managed to sell out. It was our first sellout, so to have achieved that within the first 6 months of operating really is a true success for us.
Good shot. The Rockets and the Scorchers rounding off our sport.
Very nice, Chris, and don't worry, I think you're very useful.
Oh,
And so do I.
It's all relative, isn't it?
And so do I, Chris. Thank you.
For a 60-year-old. It's going to be a birthday party with a difference. The patrons' lunch will see the Mall in London packed with picnic tables, bunting and 10,000 guests to celebrate the Queen's 90th birthday.
There has been some controversy today, though, over the cost of the tickets at £150, with critics arguing that they should be free. The organisers say there are ways people can join in, though, at no cost.
Well, yesterday I had the chance to talk to Peter Phillips, the Queen's eldest grandson, who's organising this mega street party. I started by asking him why he wanted to do something on this rather grand scale.
There've been many celebrations been put on for the Queen before, but never has there been a celebration of all the patronages, all the charities and organisations, over 600 of them. They've never been brought together and celebrated in terms of what they do within the communities that they operate.
Give us an idea, if you can, of what the Mall is going to be like on the big day.
Well, there's going to be 10,000 people here. They'll all have their own picnics. There'll be tables lined all the way down the Mall. There'll be carnival-type entertainment coming down the middle of the Mall. So hopefully it'll be a real joyous occasion and a proper celebration.
And if people want to get involved, want to be here on the big day, how do they do it?
Well, there will be a public ballot which we will announce at a later date, but that will probably come around in March. But also there's going to be big screens in the parks here in Green Park and St James's Park where people can come and join. The Mall is about being the catalyst and of hopefully inspiring people around the country to be able to host their own events, not just for the fact they want to get together, but actually to put something back into their communities.
And what's been the reaction of Her Majesty the Queen, your grandmother?
She's really excited about it. She was excited at the fact that it's the first time that all of our organisations have come together. It's the first time that we've had the Mall has hosted anything like this, a sit-down event like this. But she's excited that they are being recognised for what they do within our communities. You know, there are 18 different genres of organisations, so at one point or another, all of us would have been touched by the support that they provide.
Your grandmother, a much-loved figure by everybody. Why do you think that is? What is it that's so special about her?
When she ascended to the throne, she committed her life to public service, and I think it's that longevity and that commitment of service that people admire and respect. And I think hopefully she inspires not only the rest of her family, but certainly other people around the country and the Commonwealth.
What is the legacy of Her Majesty the Queen, do you think?
Oh, that's an impossible question to answer. I mean, there are so many areas in life of which she's led by example, and there's so many things that she's done over the course of her life, which we should all look up and celebrate. And we hope that actually this event here on the Mall and the organisations that she's committed to, that should be something that we should all be proud of and celebrate.
And other members of the royal family here as well?
Well, the Duke of Cambridge and Prince Harry are joint presidents of the event, and they're lending a huge amount of support to us as organisers of the event. So it's going to be a fantastic day with a lot of fun and a great festival atmosphere.
How much pressure on you on the big day, do you think?
Oh, there's just like anyone organising any size of event, there's always a certain amount of pressure. But given the fact that it's a family connection as well, that probably adds a little extra spice.
Good luck. I hope it all goes really well.
Cheers, man.
Thanks very much. And for more details on the Patrons' Lunch, information on how you can hold your own street party and reaction to the event, just head to our website. You know it by now, itv.com/Meridian.
FD, it looked cold when you were
I
filming
was
that.
freezing,
Yeah,
but
nice.
I know Simon's going to tell us it's all going to
Yeah,
end.
well, hopefully it's warming up, Simon.
Well, everyone keeps asking me, are we going to see any snow?
Are
And
we
the
gonna
answer
see any
is
snow?
no.
Good.
If you're
No
very
snow.
lucky, you might see a flurry, but nothing really is going to fall out of the
Very
sky.
unlucky, you
but
might see a flurry.
it's going to be there's going to be more frost. Nearly got it wrong. There's going to be more frost than you find on David Jason's CV. So get you in the mood. Let's have a look at some of the pictures of the lovely frosty weather. Cold but lovely. Chris Wiseman took this earlier on in the week in Poole. Isn't that a lovely
That is
mix?
good.
Yes.
And this one came in from Jane Miles in Sussex. That's her feathery frost on her windscreen.
That's
You wouldn't want to
brilliant.
scrape that off with a
That's
cassette box, would you?
gorgeous.
Here's a photo from Kerry Mellor in Swanmore in Hampshire. Look at that, gleaming like a Christmas decoration.
Looks
that
like
one.
my forehead.
And, yeah, slightly different colour. And Frank Reed in Maidenhead sent in
No
this one.
comment.
It looks like some kind of bizarre worm prints going on there. And this is an icy patch as well that's heart-shaped. Isn't that lovely? And not just cars. Peter Pope in Kennington sent these pictures in of the interesting patterns on the roof, on his roof windows, all to do with the way the crystals form in the imperfections on glass, so maybe following sort of a pattern that you didn't know was there, or even just a soap smear mark. Amazing.
No snow.
No snow.
You heard it here first from this man.
That's us driving on, us driving off in France, and us outside a chateau.
Driving to Europe. Eurotunnel Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Well, here's a lovely bit of clear sky action from Martin Dolan in Dorset, who managed to get a shot of the Milky Way, despite the fact the Milky Way season doesn't start until April. Who knew? I thought it was the snack you could eat between meals, whatever time of the year. But certainly the clear skies added to our Arctic blast are going to make for some very cold conditions over the weekend. Long nights, clear skies, temperatures again dipping down into the minuses. So we're looking at -2, -3 in some rural spots towards the west. There is a risk of some ice on untreated surfaces, bit more cloud towards the east, but certainly widespread frost to wake up to tomorrow morning. Plenty of blue sky though. In fact, gorgeous winter sunshine. Again, watch out for the slippery conditions first thing. Going to be a slow progress as far as the temperatures go. Eventually up to a chilly 4 or 5 in the afternoon. A few bits and pieces of cloud here and there. Slightly less wind, so not feeling quite so raw, but certainly not a warm weekend. As for your high tide times, you can see in Southampton, 3:30 in the afternoon, then around 10 to 5 in the evening, and then another frosty start to Sunday.
Eurotunnel Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
And that's how we're looking this Friday. In just a moment, we have the ITV Evening News with Alistair Stewart and Charlene White.
Stacey Poole's got our late news, but for now, from the team here at ITV Meridian, thanks very much indeed for watching. Take care, stay warm, see you on Monday.
Happy weekend. Bye-bye.